And my name's Blake. I have the privilege of being the pastor here, and usually I sit facing the stage. Today, I sat over in kind of the corner where the sound's not all that good, just so you'll know. And man, I love watching you turn your hearts and your minds and your thoughts toward God. The way you worship is inspiring. You could have been in a lot of places this morning. You've chosen to be here. We are at the end of a two-part series called God at Work, because we believe that God is at work, and not just at work in the world. He is at work in individual lives. There's not a person in this room that is not built to have God working in and even through them. And whether you are a follower of Jesus or not, it's true of you. If you're just here trying to figure out what does the Bible say or how Jesus fits into all of this, man, we're so glad you're here. But I want you to imagine what God wants to do in your life and work in your life. If you are a believer, if you're a follower of Jesus, I want you to understand, I want to challenge us all to understand that Paul wrote the Philippian church, and he said, I'm sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will complete it at the day of Jesus Christ. He will bring it into completion. He is going to complete the work that he has begun in you. Sometimes that work in my life has gotten stalled. And when it does, what I have found is there's several things that will unstall the work of God in our lives. And one of those is conversations with other believers. Several months ago, at the beginning of this year, I sat down and had a conversation with a young man named Fernando Pacheco. And in having that conversation, I was only about halfway into it, and I was like, gosh, I wish our church could hear this story. Little did I know that this young man would end up becoming our student pastor. So excited about that, and so excited for you to sit down and just sit down in our living room and have a conversation with Fernando Pacheco. Fernando, welcome to the stage and welcome to Snyder.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, for those of us who don't know, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you grew up, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I grew up in Southern California. It is beautiful there, but sometimes it's not. My parents, they had me when they were teenagers. My mom was 16, and my dad was even younger. And
he was younger than 16?
Yes. Yeah. We're a little more like brothers now.
Okay.
Yeah, an older brother. Yeah. So, ironically, there's one time where we had the same pediatrician.
All at once?
All at once.
Did y'all get a discount for that?
I probably.
Okay, that's good.
We just came in and...
That's good.
We're all children.
So you grew up in... This is a picture of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Rocky, so like the old Italian stallion, you know? Some of you guys get it. Yeah. They know it. They know the movie Rocky IV. They know it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you grew up in East LA, right?
I grew up in San Bernardino County, which is kind of, I would say, about an hour and a half from LA County, but I also grew up in Orange County, California.
So how did you grow up in both places, Fernando? You're not, I mean,
yeah,
one person, one place.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, my parents were super young when they had me. And, you know, I grew up poor, and it was hard on our family. And so I call it the barrio. It was like the hood, or some people call it like it was gang infested. And so when I was super young, I seen a shooting. I was 12 years old. I walked out of my house, and boom, there's a shooting right in front of me.
Like you hear the gun.
Yeah, I was going off at one of my friends. He was about 18, I was 12. And so that's when my dad was like, you know what, we got to move into like a better neighborhood. And so we gathered all the things and went to Orange County, California, and where there was good schools. And yeah, we're even poorer there.
So what are other things that just you did when you were growing up?
Yeah, I played baseball. That was my vehicle for what was going on in my heart. You've seen like the picture, and I was 12 years old at that time, and you just never know what's going on, like, in a kid's mind. But at that time, I dealt with a lot of hate.
Hate
Yeah.
as a 12-year-old.
Yes. I think it was the first time I actually realized that there was evil in this world, and there's a good, and there's a bad, and there's an ugly. And so, I mean, if you look at that picture, you're just like a kid that was going through, like, chaos.
Looked pretty normal.
Yeah, but yeah, when I was a kid, I was mistreated by an extended family member, and that's what began to turn, like, this heart of hatred. And so I used baseball as kind of like my outlet. Even one time I went to school, I think I was a sophomore, and this young lady came up to me, this girl, she was like, "Are you having fun playing baseball?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm having the greatest time of my life." And she goes, "'Cause you look really upset." And I was like, it's just my baseball face, I don't know. But yeah.
So that comment from that girl stuck with you.
Yeah, because you look hindsight and you're not sure exactly like what I look like. And I thought I was having a good time. But what's inside is going to come out, and you can see that I was dealing with a lot of stuff.
So you play baseball, you start playing baseball in college.
Yeah. Ironically enough, I'm left-handed, and so if you throw high mid-80s, you'll get to go somewhere, and it's like by accident. And so, I went to the local like junior college in Huntington Beach, California, and everything was good, everything was fine.
Now that's kind of, if you go to one of those colleges, it's kind of a feeder system for moving on to something.
Yeah, especially in Southern California. I mean, everybody's good. I always say I was the least of the brotherhood. You know, you got guys throwing like, 90, 95. I threw high 80s, and, I was pretty decent, kind of athletic. And so I thought, of course every kid wants to be a professional, but,
But you thought you could at least get an education.
Yes. My dad pushed education. I call him the proverb man. Like, he instilled to me what it is to have character and integrity, even at a young age. So
now, are your parents still married?
Yeah, they've been married for 40-something years, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're teenagers and they got married. In fact, his mom, my dad's mom, had a sign that it's okay for him to get married because he was 16 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. Imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're still married.
That's cool. So you're playing college baseball, and 9/11 happens.
Yeah. So growing up in Southern California, like going to the military is not a thing. It's just not. Like you're like, oh, I want to go to the military. You're almost like, you don't touch the military. A lot of my family members from World War II all the way, every single war, they fought in there. But my dad was like, hey, go to school, get an education, go play baseball, all this. And so when 9/11 happened, I remember seeing the World Trade Centers fall, and I just was like, whoa, that is crazy. And I felt violated, and I'm sure some of you guys felt the same way. You guys were like shock and awe. And so I went to school the next day, and I'm sitting on the baseball field, and I told my buddies, I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna join like the military. And they were like, why would you do that? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, guys like us don't do that. And I was like, I just felt like I needed to do it. And so, ironic, I was signed up to go to the Navy. Anybody knows how to swim in like Huntington Beach, California. We're all pretty good swimmers, and so I thought, I was like, you know what? I'm athletic. I have a brain. I think I'm kind of smart. I'd like to be a Navy SEAL. And then, but it was taking a long time. And then my cousin, who was a recruiter, imagine that, he was like, hey, like, let's go to the Marine Corps. And I was like, yeah, let's go to the Marine Corps. So I went to the Marine Corps, and like 6 months later, this was like 2003, some of you guys are my age, and all of a sudden, 2004, I was like 19 years old, and I was like, what am I doing here? This is fun, but it's not. And
So you signed up for the Marines,
Yeah.
however that works, and your parents were thrilled.
No, they were upset. Just like my son, like he's like, Dad, I want to be a Marine Raider, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? And he's like, well, you like kind of like that. And I'm like, no, like don't you go to the Naval Academy? That sounds better. So like, it was the same thing. Like my dad was like, no, play baseball, go to school.
And so you're one of the ways your relative, whom I'm sure your parents were really pleased with as well.
No, it took about 20 years to stop the bitterness in my dad's heart. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things he told you is that you could be active
Yeah.
sooner if you went into the Marines.
Yeah. So he's like, you want to get in the fight? And I was like, yeah, like right now, And
So you wanted to get in a fight.
yeah, I mean, that's why like I signed up. Like this World Trade Center thing was like in my mind, and I just was like, let's do this. And like I was, somewhat athletic, and then just the hatred in my heart from being young. Like they're gonna let me carry a weapon, and they're gonna let me do this, and it was kind of like a perfect storm, It was difficult, yeah.
How much time did you spend in Iraq?
I went 04, 05. Some of you guys probably were there, older guys. First Battle of Fallujah and stuff like that. And then I came home, and then actually met my wife.
You met Brittany.
Yes, crazy story. My brother, it's kind of funny, it's completely different. I'm bald-headed. My brother does hair, so he was like, hey, you want to go to like beauty school with me to hang out? And I was like, dude, I don't belong in no beauty school. But he was like, dude, hang out with me. And I was like,
now
okay.
Your brother, he's like...
No, yeah, he's a big guy. You would never know. Caesar, his name's Caesar. So, yeah, I'm there, and I'm sitting down, and I look across, and I notice this girl I went to high school with, and her hair like was green.
Like this.
Well, if you know anything about hair, not that I do it, but like for 20 years, I understand like how to turn green. And so it turned green, and I was like, oh man, her hair's green. So I was like, hey, your hair's green. And I was doing her a favor, and the girl, who's Brittany, my wife, 18 years old, she was like, shh, be quiet. And I was like, dude, you turned her hair green, And
was she the one that turned it green?
Yeah, it was. She doesn't do that anymore. She's amazing now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, fast forward, we met, we talked, and then 2.5 months later, just like any good military man, I was like, want to get married? Yeah.
And she said?
She said yes. Ironically, she said God told her, or something like that. I mean, yeah, the thing is I had good parents, even though they were young. I was not looking to get married whatsoever. I was afraid of marriage because of who I was. But I looked at her and I was like, man, she's going to be an amazing wife, amazing mother. I can't pass, this woman up. So even at 18 years old, so I deployed. I came back, and my mom got her to go to church, and she was like, gave her heart to the Lord and saved. And I was like, whoa, who's this? And I grew up in church, but I was like, whoa, you're like really saved. And
she was really, how do you describe one that is really saved?
Well, not going in detail, you live a lifestyle, and I came back, and I was like, she's like, and I'm staying pure. And I was like, oh, really? So I went to my life verse, and it was better to marry to burn with passion. So we got married.
Good for you. Good for her.
Good. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So you continue your career in the Marine Corps?
Yeah. Like I said, if you are somewhat athletic and just kind of put your uniform on right in the Marine Corps and do your thing and do okay, it was good. I mean, it was like, was that the picture? It's kind of funny. I think it's funny.
You want the other picture?
Yeah.
The Marines?
The picture when I was in the Marine Corps.
They're going to bring it up in a minute?
Yeah. So
the suspense is killing me.
Yeah, but
sometimes you have to just ask them nicely. Hey, can we put that picture up now of him in the Marine Corps, please? There it is. What are you doing?
Right there was a drill instructor. Something in the Marine Corps, if you're like a drill instructor, a recruiter, you could go ahead and excel your career. And I thought it was like, okay, let's do this. But before then, although like I grew up in church, I would say I grew up as a moralist. If somebody asked me if I was a Christian, yes, I'm a Christian. But I wasn't living it out. And it was one day I was driving home from Camp Pendleton, and if anything was ever audible in my life, it was get out of the Marine Corps and follow me. And
Who said that?
God, like, and I was like, no. I said no. I was like, no. Like, I don't even like people. You know, I don't want to do this. Like, we didn't even get out. Like, I'm going to do well, like, in the Marine Corps. And I got out.
Really?
Yeah. It was the best, worst day of my life, yeah.
Wow. So what happened then?
So I read this verse in the Bible. It says, those who are called to teach are going to be judged like more, like stricter, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you read it, you know? And I was like, and it scared me. And I was like, oh man, like if I'm called to like teach and I teach it wrong, this is scary. So I was like, you know, I need to go to school.
This is scary for someone who's been deployed twice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give the wrong information.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, and I wasn't a learning man, and so I was like, I'm gonna go to college, and I was scared. So I went to Talbot School of Theology in California, and it kind of just kept rolling and rolling. Men of God took me under their wing at the Rock Church in San Diego.
Right. What did you learn there? Because that was more than just going to church. That was like an internship, right?
Yeah. So they were like, hey, so I think you could do this pastoral support team. And I heard pastor, and I heard team, and I heard like people, and I was like, I don't know, man. I just got out of the Marine Corps. Like, I don't know how this thing's gonna work. And they're like, no, I think you should do it. And that's where they really like instilled what it was to serve, to shepherd. They taught me how to do funerals. They taught me how to officiate weddings. And I would just shadow them, and it's a large church, and so I had an opportunity to like teach a little bit, and these men just instill a lot in me.
And your master's degree is in leadership toward pastoral care, or like counseling, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I thought like, because I'm still messed up, but I was like, you know what, I want to know like people. If I'm going to sit across people and understand just who they are and the emotions that they're going through, like I need to like figure out what's going on in here. And so I want to go through like this emphasis on pastoral care. So I did that, and that's what like I would do. I thought I would do. And
you thought you'd be a counselor? Yeah,
I thought I would get my license and sit across from people and just, you know, tell me your problems. It still happens, but yeah.
So you finished these degrees and you moved to Nicaragua, is this right?
Yeah, my wife had this wonderful idea to go on like a little sabbatical. Her family owns some land in Nicaragua. It's not like, it's really beautiful. It was on a golf course. And the beach is like here to there. And so I show up and I'm like, oh yeah, sabbatical, I'm gonna relax. And then, 2 weeks later, this developer was like, hey, I heard you're like a pastor guy. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, you want to like start a church? And once again, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, but I'll do a Bible study, you know? And he goes, oh, how about Sunday? And I was like, okay. And I show up, there's 25 people. And I was like, okay. And then I ended up staying there almost 2 years. And
like 200 people.
Yeah, it was just expat community. People that are retired, you know, trying to get away from themselves. And it was fun. And there was a civil unrest, and so I didn't want to be that pastor that just like, peace out. So I stood like a couple months, and then we kind of had to like go from sneak out a little bit because there was like civil unrest going on.
You say sneak out. You crawled across the mountain at night.
No, it was like in the daytime. This one guy,
it was in the daytime.
Yeah, he took us up.
I was trying to do the whole Sound of Music thing.
Yeah, I was like, no. He took us up this road, and it's called Chocolate. I know it sounds crazy, but took up this road, and it came down by the Costa Rican border, and we went across, and that was the last time I was there. That was like almost maybe 8 years ago, maybe.
So you get back to the States, and then what happens?
So I thought I would be like a psychologist administrator in like, the VA, because they offered like a doctorate degree and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. But then it was like, no, I'm called to do full-time ministry. I'm not sure what this looks like, but I'm called to do it. And one day I get a phone call, and it's from an area director for Young Life, and she's like, hey, I want you to put this application. And I was like, no.
You like that word a lot.
No. Well, the thing is, no is safe. No safe. When you say no, it's safe. It means no's no. But you say maybe, they'll keep talking to you. And then if you say yes, you're going to do it. So I was like, no. And I was like, the thing I said no was like, I don't even like kids.
Because Young Life is...
Yeah, I don't like kids. I mean, I was afraid to have kids because I was like, they're not going to like me. And so...
Your only experience with kids was like recruits, right?
Yeah, as a drill instructor, you're seeing like 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, and they smell, they're disgusting. And all my experience was like, you don't listen. And so I was like, why am I going to do like youth ministry? That doesn't make sense. And so I just was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. And that was 8 years ago.
And you've been working with students ever since?
Yes. Yeah.
Why? No, seriously, like why? I know at first.
Yeah.
But why do you keep working with them?
In John chapter 1, verse 14, it says the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And I could sit there and ponder and look at that Bible verse, but it actually excites me because of what I think John was actually really saying. Like, he sat with Jesus, talked with Jesus, ate with Jesus, interact with Jesus, lived with Jesus, all those things. And so him pinning it down, he was like, I have seen his glory. And so I can only like reminisce to see, okay, what's going to happen like in the next couple chapters? He interacts with like Nicodemus, which was at night. And then he goes on in the Samaritan woman. Then he goes on and then he gets to like the invalid man, right? And I look at all of that and I'm just like, what does it look like to be with Jesus? And so it's not just like the kids. I would say it's like Snyder just in general. It's humanity that they need to see Jesus, experience Jesus, and like understand why. And this is why. I believe we have these like 3 desires. We have a desire to have relationship. We do. That's why you get married. That's why you have friends, all those things. We have a desire to be known, which can be very, very difficult, right? To open your heart and say, hey, would you love me? And then we have a desire to be loved. Every single one of us, even if we deny it and all those things. But that's what I believe John is writing, of what it looks like to be loved. And all that, sum it up, is we want a sense of belonging. Every single one of us, even if we deny it. And so when I look at the kids, when I looked at the youth, there's a statistic that says 14, you have a chance that they know Jesus. After 14, it gets really slim because the kids start driving, they start making up their own mind, all those things.
Yeah, sure.
And so that excites me.
What, if you could fast forward 5 years from now, what's your hope for the student ministry at Snyder?
That they would see his glory. I know during the interview process, I would say this, the kids are going to get discipled. They're going to know Jesus. They're going to see his glory. They're going to experience him. But I'm also going to challenge them to do something that's uncomfortable, and I hope they won't say no like me. I want kids that have never stepped foot into church to come to this church. And if I disciple the way I think I know how, it's going to motivate them, and they're going to understand the why. And they're going to want to invite their friends to this church. And by inviting their friends, they're going to invite their family. And I feel that there's going to be a revival here in Fayetteville. That's what I see.
I love that picture.
Yeah.
I believe in that picture. I mean, going back to John, very early in the book of John, John keeps using this phrase, come and see. That's inviting.
Yeah.
We invite the people that we value to the person that we value.
Amen.
You know, you're a person that had a great deal of pain that caused a great deal of anger, and you even used the word hate. How did God heal you from that? Because we kind of moved through your story,
Right.
but you know, and we know He drew you, you know, at Camp Pendleton. We know that Brittany was a part of that, drawing you back. We know your parents planted the seeds, but how did that happen?
Yeah, you see this picture as they pull it up of the young boy. That's my family.
Do you always dress that way? Can we go back to that last picture?
Yeah,
Can we go back to the last picture? Let's just stay on
that one. We have a tradition. We go to Carowinds every single year, and we dress up like this. My son has like a bunch of, call them onesies. You guys know what onesies are. And so it's fun. It's festive. I love Christmas. I didn't like Christmas until I had kids because it's exciting. But yeah, that's me now. So,
all right, we'll go back to the picture of you in the baseball cap. We'll go back to that one because the picture I just saw is a family that is happy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like there's a lot of hatred or anger emanating from you.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
I think sometimes we look at I look at this picture and I think I've seen it for the first time about a week ago. My mom had these pictures out and I look at it and it broke my heart because I knew what I was going through at that time. I knew what was going on behind the eyes and into the heart and mind. And I knew I was dealing with anger. I knew I was dealing with hatred because of things that I've experienced. And I believe some of us have experienced those same things, like where you deal with hate or you deal with anger, you don't know what to do with it, and you just like, it consumes who you are. It takes hold of you. And then you go on to the Marine Corps, and then it almost like encompasses, and it gets more and more, and it gets deeper and deeper, and it comes down and down. But if I look at that kid, I would look at a statistic. Every single birthday, I say thank you to my mom for saying yes to me.
Yeah.
She was 16 years old. And I look at the picture again, and I'm like, man, like, poor kid. But then again, in God's supernatural power, and I didn't even know and understand what it is to be beautifully and wonderfully made by God, the one who spoke the world into existence. And yet I could experience God in many different ways, but through that hate, I came to him because it was his loving kindness that drew me to repentance. It filled my heart, and I was like, wait, you can love me, you can understand me, you get me, you accept this, like, you get this hate within my heart. And then it was just his overwhelming grace and mercy, and it was just like, I got you. I understand you.
So if there's someone sitting here this morning that's like, my heart's jacked up because of what people have done to me or someone has done to me, and I'm not sure I believe anything that Fernando's saying. If there's someone like that out here today, what would you say to them?
But first, my heart hurts for you. How much more does God's heart hurt for you? You may have came in and stepped foot, and you're like waiting to hear like a sermon, and you're here like an interview, and you're saying like what is going on? This isn't like my testimony. It's the work of God in me that relieved me of all the stress and the anxiety and the torment within my heart. Only God can take a heart of stone and make it into flesh.
That's right.
And get a kid that is hated and understands hate, and then all of a sudden you're working with kids. That's only the work of God of the universe. And only he can truly save you, redeem you, and set you free from that. And so I would say, give him a chance. You don't have to fix yourself. Just say yes and let him do the rest.
Can I pray for us?
Yes.
Father, it's an honor to sit on this stage with this man. Father, it's an honor to know that he is going to be one of our teammates, that Judah and Ava and Brittany are joining us. But Father, what would be really beautiful today is that you would begin to work healing in individuals' lives that are holding on to things that you want to take from them. And Father, I pray that they would not let something that was not God's will, not your will, keep them from your love and your acceptance and your kindness. So if there's anyone here this morning that just simply needs to give their life to you, I pray that they would. And if there's anyone here this morning that it's time for them to join this church and partner with us in the good news of Jesus Christ, I pray they would. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. If you will,